It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Once again, great to have you in studio with us today. G.R. Monero, DPS captain in studio. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I think we have like 2 annual shows with you.
At least.
At least, yeah, at least. And today we're going to talk about winter driving safety tip. One of the first few days of November here. Actually, today, the day we're actually doing the show, there's snow at 8,500 feet.
Right.
And we may have some snow coming in next week in the higher elevations. So
yes.
I guess it's kind of timely to have you in just before this happens so we can kind of get people to think ahead a little bit about winter driving. Before we get to winter driving, though, DPS and local law enforcement had a really brutal week a couple weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago.
We had 5 fatalities, 3 crashes that resulted in 5 fatalities, all in a week.
Right.
My gosh.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Most of them were attributed to inattention, high rates of speed. One was a driver who fell asleep, which is an inattention issue. Mm-hmm. But we had the one actually right outside your studio. Tragic 20-year-old girl was killed up on I-40. 3 family members, including a 5-month-old baby, were killed. And then we had a motorcycle wreck just outside of Paulden. Motorcycle went left to center and collided with a van, killing that driver. So, yeah, it was a bad week. Bad week for drivers in the state of Arizona.
Well, when I talk to you, and you and I, we probably talk about this a lot. It's just, and we focus a lot about the speed that people are going these days. And you know, when I'm driving back and forth, and I usually put my cruise on 75. It's just amazing. Sometimes I feel like I'm standing still and I'm actually in the way out there. Right.
And I'm in a unique position. Although I'm a highway patrol officer, my vehicle's an unmarked vehicle, so I can kind of see what people are doing driving. Mm-hmm. Texting, I see that more often than not. People just driving down the road texting. They're always, and I don't care how well you think you can do it, you're weaving all over the road, your speeds are varying. Just for that 5 seconds can cause a major collision. People doing everything but what they're supposed to be doing driving, doing their makeup, doing their hair, talking on the phone. You know, I've seen people reading the newspaper driving down the road. Mm-hmm. So eating. Yeah.
I'm guilty of that one though too.
Yeah, and most people are. Mm-hmm. But with such high rates of speed, so many cars out on the road, and other people not paying attention, it's a recipe for disaster out there.
And you can kind of watch that happening. I mean, there was, I want to say towards the end of summer, either ADOT or DPS put out a press release saying they fully expect that by 5 p.m. on Friday evening, there's going to be a fatal wreck somewhere in the state.
Absolutely. I think that was Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. Was that Labor Day weekend?
Yep.
Okay. And I think we made it through Labor Day weekend.
We did in Yavapai County without any fatalities. We did have a couple serious wrecks. But we've partnered with ADOT. They put the signs up showing congested areas, you know, heavy traffic flow on 89. I-17, 69, as you're coming into Prescott and Sedona, because those are, you know, very big destinations for holiday weekends. You know, congested area, pay attention, watch your driving, things like that. That seems to have helped with, you know, getting it out to the public. We've got patrol officers stationed all over the place, you know, high visibility. So we're trying to do what we can, but it's hard to maintain that 24/7, you know, 365 days out of the year.
And you got hundreds and hundreds of cars going by.
Absolutely.
Too. You know, there's thousands of us out here driving around.
Right.
I think I saw 2 officers this morning, which I thought was pretty unusual, coming down from the Flagstaff area on 17. I don't know if they were DPS or YCSO, but I thought it was kind of unusual to see them at that time of day because it's only about 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
But are you guys getting out there earlier?
No, we're not getting out there much earlier. I think our shifts start at 5 in the morning. Mm-hmm. But we did have an officer respond to this morning, southbound I-17, a huge boulder, Copper Canyon, rolled down the hill. About the size of a car was that boulder. Blocked one of the traffic lanes. So we had an officer go out there and have to respond to that at 5:30 this morning.
Mm-hmm. So. Get traffic to slow down and go around it.
Yep. And something like that, it really jams up traffic. And if you're not paying attention, you're not seeing traffic slowing down. If you're looking at your phone, like I said, that 3 to 4 seconds, that can cost somebody their life.
We have a PSA, and I saw it this morning on the channel, where there's a girl driving down the road, and she sees her phone, and you can see that it says text message came up. And you could tell she's kind of struggling with whether or not she she should pick it up, but she picks that dang phone up, and she starts doing this, and it kind of flashes between her eyesight and the road. Her eyesight, road. Her eyesight, road. Next thing you know, there's a stop sign, and she's going through it, and bam, we got a T-bone going on.
Right.
So, I don't know. What do we do? What do we do?
I don't know. I wish there was an answer. I mean, I preach, like I said, my daughter knows if she's caught texting, she loses her car for that period, for a week or so. That's just, I'm so dead set against it. I wish people would realize that message is just not that important. If it is that important, pull off to the side of the road, deal with what you have to deal with, and then get back on the road and drive safely.
I think it was you last time you were here. We were talking about how, remember how it was when you had to be at home and the phone rang, and then you would get the phone, but if you were gone, the phone would just ring and ring and ring, and that was it.
Oh, yeah. But we're driven with social media, text messaging. Everybody's available 24/7. And, we just have to prioritize and say, you know what, that can wait until I get to where I'm going.
I think there's even a cell phone addiction right now.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a condition for that one.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a commercial on, I can't even remember what it's for, but the guy collects the cell phones and he throws them into a wood chipper, and people are just losing their minds.
Oh, wow.
Because their cell phones were thrown into a wood chipper.
Sometimes it happens. So, okay, there's really not much we could do. We could just, you hear me do the stories on the air about, with GR talking about just slow down.
Right.
And I you know what, the last story I did with you, I had you specifically talk about, I feel like today, instead of being an offensive driver, you really have to be a defensive driver. Maybe we should hit that a little bit. Absolutely.
Just like our officers are trained, look way ahead. Try to anticipate potential problems. If you're focusing on just that 100 feet in front of you, you're not seeing, you look at 260, there's so many access roads that come out there. If somebody runs a stop sign or you're not paying attention, that's a recipe for disaster. It's a little easier to prepare on I-17 because it is controlled access, or I-40, but we have so many two-lane highways here. There's so much stuff going on. We have animals in the roadway. We are rural Arizona. There's deer and elk and javelina and rabbits and everything else out there in the road that, if you're not paying attention and you look up and there's an animal in the road, you're going to swerve. Are you paying attention to traffic in the other lane? Are you going the wrong way? And there's just all kinds of things, and it just happens in a split second.
Yeah, it does. And speaking of animals, we've got a couple minutes before we take our first break. I've noticed that we've got a pretty large amount. I want to say between 6 and 10 elk I've now seen along I-17, especially with the big moon we've had over the past few nights.
Right.
I've seen a lot of elk hit on the side of the roads. I've seen some deer on the side of I-17. So they're moving.
Right. And especially when there's a full moon, they'll feed and water at night. So they're traveling. That's their travel time, is during the night. They're much more difficult to see at night. You're driving down the road, unless you catch some eyes, or, they just kind of appear in front of you, and we have a lot of accidents because of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be camouflaged,
yes,
and they're very good at being camouflaged.
Yes, they are.
Brown against brown is difficult to see. All right, DPS Captain GR Manera in studio today. We're going to come back. We'll talk about winter safety tips, because winter driving is just around the corner. This is Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Great. We're going to try this again, okay?
Okay.
Wheels, pedals, handlebar, brakes. Sit up straight, keep your weight in the center, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the grips, button to seat. If we feel ourselves falling, what do?
Just keep pedaling.
Good girl. Now remember, it's all about balance and steering. Steer with your hands, steer with your body. Steer into the corners and you stay out of trouble. And the bell's your buddy, so go ahead and ding that. All right, you ready? Here we go. Pedal, honey, pedal. There you go, you're a bike rider.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. And now she's holding on for dear life. Her kids can see she may have broke her knees. They still love her though she looks like she's attacked by killer bees. I'm in
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to Countywide. DPS Captain G.R. Manera in studio today. We're going to kind of switch gears. Just going to ask everybody to slow down. Holiday season's coming. So
yes, it is.
Road traffic is going to be busy.
Right.
Over the next couple of months.
The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the busiest traffic day of the year. Air travel, car travel, everything.
Yeah, so we got Thanksgiving coming. Halloween is this coming weekend. Then we've got Thanksgiving, and then all the holiday shopping that's going to be going on. So people are going to be, I guess I want to say a little more frantic, possibly.
Right. And with Halloween, everybody needs to be much more aware that there's so many more pedestrians out on the roadway. Little kids, you know, they're not always dressed in reflective, you know, they're in costume or whatever.
Right.
And so, you know, everybody needs to be really aware of more pedestrians and foot traffic out on the roads.
Just slow down. You'll get there.
Yeah.
We just want you to get there.
It's it.
Just want you to get there, and it'll still be there when you get there.
Yes, it will.
It's not going anywhere. All right, winter driving. We've got, we may see some snow. The San Francisco Peaks have seen snow a couple of times. They're seeing snow again today. And then next Wednesday's forecast, I don't even know what that is, November 3rd or 4th, somewhere in there, there's a chance of maybe some snow.
Right.
So what do we need to know? Because that first snowstorm, the day after, I'm usually on the phone with DPS saying, so how many slide-offs do we have?
Yeah, and ADOT's really predicting, and the National Weather Service really predicting a wet winter. They don't know if it's going to be snow or if it's going to be rain. So ADOT and DPS, we're gearing up right now to expect a lot of snow this winter. We're trying to get people to realize don't travel in those snowstorms. I mean, everybody wants to go to Flagstaff in the high country after it snows. Wait a day or two. The snow's still going to be there. You're still going to be able to sled and tube and all that. But let ADOT do their job. Get those roads clear before you try to get out there. The roads are terrible during those snowstorms. One accident can create 5 or 6 more accidents behind it. Excuse me. Because there's so much traffic out there and people are trying to avoid them. They don't have the right snow tires. They don't have the right chains. You know, people are just trying to travel. Speed is a huge one. You need to slow down. Keep a constant speed, but slow it down. Make sure you can get around, you know, other accidents, traffic stops, whatever you happen to see.
What happens if, for some reason, you just... there's been times I've been driving down the road, and it doesn't matter what I do.
Right.
The road is just like this sheet of glass, and you could be driving super slow, but you can still feel your vehicle just moving all over the place. What if I get on the side of the road? What should I do?
Get off as far as you can away from the travel lane. Have your cell phone available, well charged. Call 911, call the emergency personnel. We'll get a tow truck up there. We'll get an officer up there. We'll help you get unstuck. If you're traveling in those instances and you can feel like that black ice underneath the snow or whatever, do not hit your brakes. You're unable to steer once you lock up the brakes. If you try to accelerate, you're going to get the vehicle to spin and you'll lose control. Just maintain that constant speed. Even if you're just moving a little bit, as long as you're moving forward, you should be okay to get through that area and at least get safely off to the side of the road.
Forward is a good direction.
Yes.
And I guess if I do get on the side of the road, I should probably be watching because, you know, when you're driving the road, you see people on the side of the road. We call that rubbernecking, I think. Right? So you never know. Somebody could be doing that, and then all of a sudden, you mentioned, you know, one accident can lead to a second, a third, a fourth.
Right. We had an instance last year on I-40 up in Seligman. They had a snowstorm come in. We had 4 officers within a mile period investigating traffic collisions. We had another officer almost a half mile behind with his lights on, trying to slow everybody down. 3 of our patrol vehicles got hit. Just people would look over, not paying attention. They'd get caught up in the heavy snow. They'd pull back over. As soon as they do that, you know, that radical movement just caused them to spin out of control and hit 3 of our patrol cars. Luckily, nobody was hurt. There were no injuries, but like I said, anything when it comes to those traveling on the highways is just a split second.
Yeah. I guess it's it's kind of a reaction.
It is.
It's just a reaction. It's difficult to hold that back, but I guess we got to try as best we can.
Right.
So there are a few things we probably should keep in our car just in case we do.
Right. Some of the good things you can keep in your car is a shovel. If you do happen to get off on the side of the road and you do get stuck, I will tell you, officers are working as fast as they can to get to you, but it may be a couple of hours by the time they can get to you. But if you can dig yourself out, get yourself moving again, moving forward, that's always a good thing as long as you didn't damage your vehicle or damage another vehicle. Kitty litter is always a good thing to have. Once you get on that ice, if you can't get traction, if you sprinkle some kitty litter down on that ice, it just gives enough traction to it that you can get moving and going forward again. Blankets, always good if you have to be out there for a long period of time to stay warm, because the temperatures drop down below freezing and even further. Some food items, your cell phone charged. Make sure you at least have a half tank or more of gas, so if you do have to sit out there a while, you can keep that heater moving. Make sure your tires are in good shape if you're going to the north. Chains or four-wheel drive or good traction on your tire tread so you can get through that snow. Just a lot of common sense things to make sure that you drive safe through these holiday weekends.
Yeah, I think I've got an extra pair of gloves and a hat. I got a coat and a sweatshirt just sitting in the backseat of the truck. Just always sitting there.
Anything you think you would need in cold weather, it's good to put those items in your car. Make sure you have those. You never know. I mean, you hear stories. People drive off the road. They're not seen for a day or two. Plows come by. They build up a big wall of snow there. They may not see a car that's just down off on the shoulder. So
we have seen cases like that.
Right.
Yeah, where you just just lost out there.
Right. We've had, people that got lost and they turn off on a road and they get buried in the snow and don't know what to do. They're out there for several days. So have these items, you'll be safe and keep yourself warm, keep yourself from freezing to death or hypothermia and things like that.
You guys will help get people unstuck. I've even seen that going on where you've actually pushed cars out.
Yeah, we push cars out, we pull cars out. I mean, whatever we can do. For us, the more we get cars moving, the better we are. Because as cars are stopped on the side of the road, like you said, the rubberneckers or people looking over, that always creates another problem. Because even when you're looking, if you're still maintaining a good constant, travel lane, just looking over, you automatically slow down and, it just causes all kinds of problems, forcing that car behind you to hit their brakes. They may lose control. So another thing, too, is give yourself a good distance between vehicles.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, when you're, they say the 2 to 3 second rule, that's good when you're traveling 50 miles an hour. But when you're traveling highway speeds, that gap has to be 3 to 4 seconds now to give yourself a good reaction period.
Gosh, I've been going 35 on I-17 in a snowstorm, and I try to keep as much room as I can, because I know when I go to slow down, I'm not going to be able to hit my brakes. Because you hit your brakes, all of a sudden you're just spinning. So you're just going to take your foot off the gas and hope your vehicle just slows down enough, and you can just kind of tap them and ease. And there's some white knuckle moments out there, And
a lot of the newer vehicles will have the anti-lock brakes, which are supposed to keep you from, but they do grab, and that's how they slow down. They grab and release at a high rate of speed, but the times they grab, your vehicle starts to lose control.
Turn into the skid, too.
Yeah.
All right. GR Monero with DPS in studio today. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stick around.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again? Yep. Mix the beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it? Got it. Throw on the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Because of Shriners Hospitals for Children, I can play basketball. I could climb stairs. I can write my name.
At Shriners Hospitals for Children, love is caring for a child, regardless of the family's ability to pay. If you know a child we can help, visit shrinershospitalsforchildren.org.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left in the show today. DPS Captain G.R. Manera with us. One thing you mentioned prior to the show is that a lot of us, and I think I'm even included on this one too, is that we hear that a snowstorm is coming, and we all head to the store the day of the storm,
right,
while the storm's happening. So maybe we should do a little prep work.
Right, just plan in advance. It's funny, born and raised in Prescott, everybody remembers the storm of 1967 where we got 4 feet of snow. People were trapped in their houses, so it seems like as soon as the first snowflake flies, everybody rushes to the store. Just plan ahead a little bit, have some canned goods, make sure you have enough food in your house to last a couple of days or a week. Snow doesn't usually last longer than that, at least in the Prescott area. Maybe a little bit longer in the high country and Flag and the rim country, but just be prepared on stuff like that.
Have a little extra food items laying around.
Yeah.
DUI patrols are definitely going to be kicking in. Holiday season is going to be upon us very soon.
Yes.
It's upon us, I guess I should say.
Right. We have a lot of the major holidays coming up: Halloween, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year's. There'll be a lot of DUI enforcement going on during those times. We also have an enhanced patrol for this quarter with DPS, where we're really going to be focusing on hazardous moving violations and seatbelt violations.
What's a hazardous moving violation? Give me one.
Following too close, speed, unsafe lane usage, weaving within the lane.
Aggressive driving.
Aggressive driving,
okay.
Yes. Okay. And a lot of that is related to everything to distracted driving. So
no one should be drinking or doing drugs while driving.
Nope.
Whether they be illegal drugs or prescription drugs, either one of those.
Right.
Shouldn't be operating vehicles. And you guys will be out there in force with the local law enforcement. I know you guys always team up. We do those stories where the Governor's Office of Highway Safety put a grant in for Cottonwood PD, Camp Verde Marshal's Office, Prescott PD, Prescott Valley PD, and DPS is always kind of mixed in there with you.
Right. We always try to assist the local agencies. They assist us. I mean, up in rural Arizona, every agency's, pretty small and manpower short. So, we can't do anything by ourselves. We all have to team up together and work as a team, and it always is successful.
Real simple. Just don't drink and drive. Don't do drugs and drive.
Right.
And you'll be fine.
Yep. There's so many cab companies out there that offer free rides or designated driver programs. Utilize those things. Let's make it a safe holiday weekend.
Let's do it. All right. GR, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming in. Hopefully we'll reduce some of these crashes. I can't imagine responding to 5 fatalities in 1 week. That's awful. So, yeah, just slow down out there, folks. We'd like to keep you around for a while. Captain with the DPS, GR Manera. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll talk to you again next time.